Ilhan Omar is at it again. From referring to 9/11 as a time when some people did something, to making anti-Semitic tweets on Twitter that even Democrats are calling her out for, to not even condemning Antifa or any other terrorist organizations such as Hamas, Al Qaeda, or the PLO. I swear, every time any of those women on the squad say anything, it makes a lot of people, including me, hate them even more. But I'm not here to talk about what they said in the past. I'm here to what Ilhan Omar is talking about right now. It is basically referring to our border and especially the immigration crisis that we have been dealing with. As we already know, the squad basically is on the very far left side of the Democratic Party. It's gone so far left, it's very far left, especially when AOC not only describes herself as a Democratic socialist, but also has been making false comparisons that detention centers are the same thing as concentration camps in Nazi Germany. And ever since then, it has gone downhill. There has been this rhetoric has been adopted by the regressive left, and it's been adopted by Antifa, which has led to violence. I'm not even kidding. There's been violence in Tacoma. There has been the shooting of ICE offices in Houston where one person was injured, and even an attack in an immigration center in Florida where one person was attacked. And now it's even gone way ridiculously worse, especially with Ilhan Omar is suggesting right now. She claims she really wants the United Nations to come in and try to help solve the issue with our border. She specifically calls on the UN High Commissioner for Refugees in order to work out with that. The reason why she says this is because the United States is losing the high moral ground, and she even cites the supposed human rights violations, despite the fact that they can leave that illegal immigrants could leave any time, and she even cites how a lot of these illegal immigrants are treated like criminals, despite the fact that one, they are considering that they illegally crossed the border, and two, many of them have actually had a criminal record. She even backs this up in one of her quotes. "We are treating people like criminals when they have not committed a crime," which further backs up that whole mentality that human rights violations as well against these illegal immigrants is just been spreading around. So she wants the United Nations to come in, deal with the border issue for us. And I cannot understand what Omar is thinking right now. Because, like I said before, there has been it's true what I say with Ilhan Omar that there's an issue on our border. But it's not with the detention camps. It's with the rise in illegal immigration. In fact, I hear a lot of the time with the left that we always should think about the children or just the people who are illegally crossing the border, that they are just people who are looking for a better life. And yet I see statistics completely disowning that. Around 30% of the people who come into this country illegally with a child turn out to be not the parent of the child. There was even one case where there was an article reported that a baby was bought on eBay, of all places, for $80 by a guy who just wants to cross into our southern border. $80 just to cross into our southern border. I fear what would have happened if that guy was not caught. I fear. Thankfully he was, and from what the last thing that I know about about the baby is currently under ICE custody. So I don't really know at this point in time what the current status of the baby is. But that only shows that there's an issue going on with illegal immigration as well as laying in criminals through our southern border. So I don't understand where she gets this mentality that we're somehow treating these people like criminals. Like I said before, the moment that they cross into our border illegally, without going through the due process of actually applying for a visa or citizenship, is the moment you are. It's a moment when you're a criminal. In fact, there are so many chances of them going about trying to become an actual citizen. They could have gone to the consulate or the embassies and applied for asylum to the United States, and people would obviously check on it. But apparently, that's not the case. And to further add to the point about the problem dealing with illegal immigration, a lot of the times, cartels and even MS-13 has been using illegal immigration to send drugs as well as their own personnel across into the United States to further expand control over the drug trade that is crossing between the United States and Mexico. This is a major problem. So again, I do not understand how Ilhan Omar, in her head, how we should not be treating these people like criminals. I really don't. Are there some illegal immigrants that are definitely victims? Yes, and I specifically point out the women who are raped along the way to going into the United States, as well as the children who are basically being used just to get into our country. I feel really sorry for them. But nonetheless, this is a big issue that we need to deal with, and we should treat those who come into our country illegally as criminals. After all, it is called illegal immigration for a reason. Now let's just entertain the whole idea about Ilhan Omar's call for the UN coming into our country. That would not work out very well. Several reasons for this. One, the UN is more focused on a few other countries that are in much of a bigger problem than the United States. They have been focusing on Somalia. They focus on the Balkans. They focus on Libya and a few other places. Many of these countries happen to be states where their own government has fallen, or there's just so much poverty that the government is ineffective dealing with, or anything of that sort. That's basically what they focus on. Number two, the UN and the United States have completely different interests. The reason why is because the United Nations is made up of so many countries. Hell, even the peacekeepers themselves are made up from different nationalities, from India or Pakistan to Egypt or France, Russia, China, any of that sort. So that would put in that if the UN were to come in and take control of our southern border, they would easily enforce their own interests instead of the United States. This would cause hostility between the UN and Americans who are just living on the southern border. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people would be very hostile to such an idea of the United Nations taking control of our southern border. I'm pretty sure that would be the case. Never mind the American government. I'm pretty sure would also have the same reaction. No, another thing is, they provide different sorts of things, such as stopping violence as well as provide aid. Last time I checked, they're not really in the business of border security. Though, if anyone would like to fact check me on that, I would encourage you to do so. But from last time I checked, they have not. That was not part of their role as the United Nations. And finally, even if the UN does take control of our border, it will only make things worse. They will be as ineffective as how they acted in Somalia back in the 90s, or even in the Balkans. They will be that ineffective. Because I'm pretty sure that they would... once they are trying to enforce the southern border, that it will just only further encourage illegal immigrants to come here. Because they know that the UN would simply try to aid them and try to the best of their ability and consider them as refugees. Fortunately, this is something that may never happen. It's a 99.99% chance of that ever happening. But it's no less concerning. It's no less, especially from Ilhan Omar. This only further emphasizes the regressive left's overall infatuation that illegal immigrants are victims, which I admit some are, like I said before, with the rape women who are raped along the way, as well as the children who are being taken advantage of. But they consider every single illegal immigrant to be a victim and not a criminal. And yet they go so far as to not only consider that detention centers are actual concentration camps, but are even calling on organizations such as the UN in order to deal with that. There's a reason why Ilhan Omar is much hated. Forget the rest of the squad. Ilhan Omar is very unpopular. According to a poll, 9% of swing vote Democrats support her. 9%. That is a major issue, and it only shows that a lot of people do not like this ideology that the regressive left has been pushing, especially when it comes to illegal immigration. So yeah, I don't think that this is going to come to fruition at all. If it does, it would be very, very unlikely. This only emphasizes that a lot of people are not liking this far left ideology or mentality, especially when it comes to illegal immigrants. A lot of people prefer their borders to be secured, and especially by groups such as ICE or the United States Armed Forces, because they want to protect their sovereignty as well as the rule of law. And people pretty much would prefer legal immigrants, especially considering that they applied through the right way. This only shows that the regressive left is just becoming out of control, especially in its own ideology. And in all honesty, this statement made by Ilhan Omar is just proving that a lot of people are becoming less and less infatuated by the regressive left, and especially with what they're saying. I am willing to bet that this eventually will bite her in the ass. This may be although to be fair, this may be a small comment, and it will be overshadowed eventually with something else that she may say. But it's just another part of what she's done as a congresswoman that will inevitably lead to her downfall. My name is Somi, and the Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if you have any problems with, or have any criticisms with my videos, please be sure to either post them down in the comments below or message me up above. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.